Thanks for that introduction, Kerry. And welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. It's a pleasure to be here in Melbourne and a pleasure to be talking about Astro resources. So, who's Astro? Astro is a genuine, active, diversified explorer, and 2022 has seen two new projects added to the stable. The first one is the Healy Basin project. It's located in a lithium hotspot of Nevada. It's prospective for both lithium clays and lithium brines. And this is really one foot in the door for lithium exploration for Astro. We're actively looking to expand upon the footprint in this very prospective jurisdiction. The second project that was added to the portfolio is the Georgina project. The Georgina project is located between the historic mining districts of Tennant Creek in the Northern Territory and Mount Isa in northwest Queensland. Georgina is prospective for world-class copper-gold deposits, IOCG style, and drilling is currently underway at one of our targets at Leichhardt East. Now, underpinning these two very prospective greenfields projects is the Governor Broome project. And Governor Broome has 126 million tonnes of JORC indicated and inferred resources of heavy mineral sands, just over 4% heavy minerals. It's got high value mineralogy, it's got proven separation test work, and it has excellent access to infrastructure. This project, which has largely been de-risked, is being advanced towards scoping study by the end of next year. So Astro has an enterprise value of just over $20 million, and this really does represent a ground floor opportunity in terms of having exposure to a world-class copper-gold discovery in a new exploration frontier and battery metal upside, as well as underpinned by quite a substantial JORC mineral resource with respect to mineral sands. So just a bit about Astro's board: an experienced board, technical, corporate and international M&A expertise. Recently appointed chairman, Tony Leibowitz, was one of the founding directors of Pilbara. If you don't know who Pilbara are, you'll hear about them in 15 minutes, but I suspect you do. Tony was one of the driving forces behind taking that company for what was then a $2.5 million market cap to just under $1 billion. Now, the other thing that's happened recently with Astro is Astro now has a management team in the last couple of weeks. Look, I'm very pleased to come on board. I've got another geologist who's with me, and it really signifies Astro's intent to advance these high-quality projects. Just a corporate overview. Just under 270 million shares on issue, 5.4 million performance rights. Cash in the bank at the end of the last quarterly is 1.24 million, although raising a bit more capital was approved by shareholders at the general meeting not that long ago. The top 20 hold 68% of the stock, so pretty tightly held. Now onto the projects. Healy Basin, located in that lithium hotspot of Nevada. Nevada is prospective for lithium clays and lithium brines, and so we've got some pretty big projects there. ASX listed Ioneer has a $1.265 billion NPV project, and it's Rhyolite Ridge. American Lithium has a 7.13 million tonne lithium carbonate equivalent resource just outside of Tonopah, and the only producing lithium mine, which is a brine producer in North America, is also located in Nevada, in the south part of Nevada. So Healy's located here, and the Astro claims are outlined in red on this map, directly to the south of Belmont Resources project. Now, Belmont's ASX-listed partner Marquis has been put a couple of holes into the basin looking for lithium brines, and that's basically, if you look here, Sorry for people to the right and the left, you'll need to look at the central one. So the thesis that we have at Kibby is that these areas here outlined in purple, they are parts of uplifted basement rocks. So they've been faulted upward. Now the significance of that is if you go further south to Albemarle's lithium brine operation, which has been running since 1966, the best grades of lithium are up against these faults. So it's normal faults that thrusts up the basement like this. And so our thesis is that's exactly what's happening here. So very prospective from a brine perspective. Now, not just from a brine perspective, mind you, it's also prospective for lithium clays. And that'll be our first step, is getting on the ground with a air core rig and looking at the lithium clay potential early in next year. As I also mentioned, we're seeking to expand on our lithium footprint in Nevada with intents on doing further lithium clay exploration. Georgina, located east of the town of Tennant Creek in the Northern Territory. And this map here shows the Astro claims outlined in red, exploration licences, and all the other exploration licences outlined in black. There's a number of players in the area, and you can see the area is essentially covered. So we've got Newcrest there, we've got Strategic Energy Resources, Inca, Middle Island. It's a very busy area. But if you wound back the clock 5 years ago, there's essentially no tenements in the region. And the reason for that is because around about then is when Geoscience Australia and the Northern Territory Geological Survey started sinking a lot of money into investments in geoscience investigations in the region. A lot of new geophysics was flown, there was gravity surveys taken, there was modelling of that data, and there was mineral potential mapping. Now, the last thing that happened in 2020 was the National Drilling Initiative program. Now, that program sunk 10 holes into the region, and it was really to answer the question, well, we've got copper-gold mineralisation, we've got old mines in Tennant Creek, we've got the same in Mount Isa, what about in the middle? And so they drilled these 10 holes, and of the holes, they all intersected the right kind of host rocks, they intersected the right kind of alteration, and several of them actually intersected base metal mineralisation. So the answer to that question is a resounding yes. There's 4,500 square k's or so of exploration tenements that Astro has in the region, and they are prospective for iron oxide copper gold. And these deposits they're large, typically large. They are economically attractive, and they account for the lion's share of Australia's domestic copper production. If you look in South Australia, you'll be familiar with Olympic Dam, Prominent Hill, Carrapateena, all world-class copper deposits. And northwest Queensland, Ernest Henry, that's another world-class copper deposit. It's been running for more than 20 years, open pit, underground, and just the other day Evolution was announcing 100-metre intersections from Ernest Henry. So it's still got a rosy future. So that's the size of the prize. That's what we're looking for, ultimately. These deposits are rich in iron minerals, hematite and magnetite, and they're dense and typically magnetic. So the first step in an exploration program is doing magnetic and gravity surveys. A previous holder, Greenvale Mining, did an excellent job of this, covering most of the tenement package in magnetic surveys and some selected gravity surveys as well. They gave all that data to SRK and said, okay, take a look at this, we're looking for IOCGs. SRK came back with over 90 conceptual targets, around about 20 odd high-ranking targets, so it's a very prospective project. One of those targets is called Leichhardt East, and we're drilling there right now. We've got DDH1 up there. The two images on the right, the top one is a gravity image, and the bottom one is a magnetic image. We're drilling hole 95 DD01. And you can see it's targeting a hot spot in the magnetics and a hot spot in the gravity. And that's really what you're looking for. Greenvale drilled 2 holes previously in the region. They're the other 2 on the image. And those both intersected the right kind of host rocks, hematite alteration, strong hematite alteration, chloride alteration, and importantly, a low-level copper mineralisation. So we're pretty confident we're in an IOCG system. It's just about where in the system we're going to get the best copper bang. So next steps at Georgina, we're going to finish up our drill hole. We'll have assay results in the first quarter next year, and then we're conducting some geophysical surveys. Now both, I might add, the drill hole and these geophysical surveys are supported by NT government grants, exploration grants. They're co-funded to the tune of 50% of eligible costs. So this is a really excellent way to do cost-effective exploration, and as well as have the endorsement of the NTGS in terms of our exploration strategy. Governor Broome. So this is our mineral sands project in southwest WA, just under 100 k's from Busselton. 126 million tonnes of JORC resources, indicated and inferred, at combined just over 4%. And the mineralogy has high-value minerals, including rutile, zircon and monazite. Proven heavy minerals separation performance in previous bulk test work. It covers over 20 k's worth of strike of mineralised strands, and has really good access to infrastructure in terms of power running through the site, paved roads through the site, and 2 processing plants within around about 140 k's. That's just a table of the mineral resources and showing you where the indicated and inferred portions of those resources are. That line dashed in red is showing where the cross-section is. So that's just running through the block model, and you can see from that there's not much cover, okay? So there's not much overburden to move off these mineral sands, and then you get nice thick sequences. The mineralogy, put an announcement about this about a week ago. Heavy mineral assemblage from the eastern part of the deposit, 96.5% valuable heavy minerals, including over 10% zircon, 0.8% monazite, the rare earth element bearing mineral, and 85.5% titanium minerals. Those titanium minerals have an average grade of 63% TiO2, so that's a good grade. Bulk sample test work was done previously on the western part of the deposit, and it showed we're able to generate a heavy mineral concentrate. The clays were removed easily, and high-grade products were able to be produced from that heavy mineral concentrate with stock standard dry separation methods. What's also important is the zircon met the requirement for premium classification, and if you look at current mineral sands producers, they've been achieving over 2,000 US a tonne for that zircon product. So next steps at Governor Broome. We're looking at some infill drilling early next year. There will be further bulk sample test work on the eastern high-grade part of the deposit, and looking to do a scoping study by the end of next year. I've got a couple more projects in the stable, but those previous 3 are our main ones. I'll run through these ones quickly. Needles is an epithermal project, prospective for epithermal mineralisation in Nevada. It's had a fair degree of historical work, including some drill testing of some IP targets by Astro last year into this year. Really, there's some prospective ground near surface, up to 0.1% silver in rock chips, and mineralised trends identified on the map on the right. So we're going to be reviewing all of that data and deciding what to do next there. The other one's Kimberley. It's a alluvial diamonds project, and that's slated to be spun out with a collection of other projects in an IPO. So, why invest in Astro? Well, you've got world-class copper-gold discovery potential at Georgina, battery metal upside and lithium exploration in Nevada, and we're expanding our footprint in Nevada, and that's underpinned by some pretty substantial JORC mineral resources at Governor Broome. And not only that, but we're active, okay? So Kibby Basin, we'll look to get out there drilling early next year following our drill approvals. Georgina, we've got a drill hole going down right now. In terms of Governor Broome, we've got our bulk sample test work, we've got infill drilling, and we're going to follow that up with an updated resource estimate and scoping study. And in terms of Needles, technical review, and if it's warranted, we'll do a little bit more shallow drilling at Needles. So thank you all for taking the time to listen. It's not much time to cover such a group of projects. Please come and see me at the booth later and we can talk about them a bit more.